See you in the hot seat wasn't there yet.
Hello and welcome to Your Dad Learns StarCraft 2. This is a bit of a doubleheader. There are two topics I want to cover in this video. The first is cannon contains and how I reacted to this one. This particular game is a cannon contain into Skytoss. And the second thing is this is also a promotion game. Moved me from Silver 1 up to Gold 3, which is good. This is fairly early in the season of Season 3, 2018. So I was glad to get back into Gold and try to keep progressing. So let's start up, and we'll start off a little bit faster than usual, because what we want to do is get to where this probe gets down to my side of the map. So I do an extractor trick. Oh, and before I forget, in the upper right hand corner is my honorable opponent, playing Protoss in blue, the Grim Reaper. And in the lower left hand corner is your hero, your champion, your dad, playing Zerg the way that he does. So, with that out of the way, I see Grim Reaper's probe come up, just kind of dash into my base and then dash out. Kind of suspicious, so I follow him and see he throws a pylon down. This pylon means they're going to proxy me. They're probably going to cannon contain, but they're at least proxying. So, one of the responses that you can take when this happens is you can pull 4 drones to take care of a pylon, and you should pull another 1 or 2 drones to take care of the probe. I don't pull enough drones off, and I have one chasing, kind of get undecided with this guy, and just send this guy back to start fighting this. And pretty soon I decide that I'm not going to take the time to kill this and kill the next one. Like, I decide I'm not going to do that, so I send these guys back to base to keep mining. And I send this guy actually to go help fight this probe. And right there, I send this guy off to build a base. So I'm not going to be able to take my natural here. I'll just take my second base up there. And this probe now proceeds to dump all of their resources into cannons. So they're making 5 cannons, and they did their objective. I guess is what they want to do this game. And at this point, in their mind, they've won, which is great. It's good to have a goal, set it, and be able to complete that goal. It would be nice if I moved this Overlord so cannons don't just utterly destroy it. But we've all got things to improve on. So I get a pool, and then I make a Roach Warren. Could have made that a little quicker, but I didn't. So let's talk about a couple different reactions you can have to this. You can do the drone attack to take care of the pylons, stop cannons from going down, that type of thing. Just stop it ahead of time at the cost of some economy, which lets your opponent get a little bit ahead on economy, but they're going to lose a bunch of resources by either canceling stuff or losing the pylons outright. Another thing you can do, you can just make a base somewhere else. This is not the safest place to make it, because it's where I'd normally make my third. Either there or there. I could have made it further out, like out here, someplace where they probably wouldn't check, or down here. But I don't do that. Luckily for me, they are also being just as sloppy in their play, and they don't even check. Their probe had been not mining for the longest time. There's no reason to not do your due diligence and check out at least this base and this base to make sure that, hey, there's not an enemy base there. You actually contain me. So now they believe I'm on 1 base when I'm actually on 2 bases, and they believe they'll be able to get an economic advantage off of that, which they'll probably have an economic lead a little bit, because they were able to just make probes have them keep mining, and I had to pull some off. But they're also going to lose these buildings, so it's a temporary advantage. They're going to lose some resources. The tick that I'm doing, and I'll turn it back on, what I'm doing right now, and I'll speed it up, is I'm going to go roaches into Ravagers, and I'm going to use Corrosive Biles to clear this out. Which works because your bile will outrange your opponent's cannons, so they can't hit your guys and kill them. And Bile you can use every 7 seconds. And it also works because they didn't make any shield batteries down here. So at this point they just started up their second Nexus. So they're trying to get their economy a little more expanded. But I've already got base. In fact, if I started making Zerglings out of this base, I probably could have attacked them pretty well. But I'm expecting them to attack me with some Zealots or some kind of follow-up. They're containing me. I expect some kind of follow-up pressure, but they don't actually lay any pressure out. They tell me to just give up, and I'm guessing that because we're in lower ELO, they're used to, or lower MMR, they're used to people kind of quitting in this type of situation because they might not know how to handle it. But it's really not that bad. So I'm going the Ravager route. Where's some other routes you can take? You could go a fast lair, and you could drop some drones and units over the side and start up your other bases. Could have done that earlier instead of investing into these. That's if they don't follow up with pressure. I like Ravagers and a Roach follow-up, because if they follow up with pressure trying to get into your base, you can stop them, and then you can go for Dropper Lords. Although I am going for a quick lair. Or not quick, but you know, I'm following up with lair. Also with some upgrades and all that stuff. You could also go Nidus Network, where you kind of go into Roaches, and you make some Queens, make some Roaches, get a Nidus Network, and you drop a Nidus Worm around here, or in their base probably right over here, where they can't really see it. They don't have vision of that spot. And then you just load up your Nidus and you attack them. That's just that cannon. And I think those are pretty much the most common responses. You either pull drones, well, one. You pull drones, or you go Ravagers, or you use a Nidus Network, or some kind of alternate transport. A Nidus Network is if you're just going to go for one base all-in, just go to kill them. In which case, you probably, instead of making this hatchery, you'd make a safer macro hatchery in your own base, probably over here. And just make a bunch of units, get the Nidus Network, and throw them out here as quick as you can. And just start overwhelming their mineral line, because they probably don't have many defensive units. Which really, they don't. My army that I have right now could take out their army if I Nidus Networked. So if you can do that well at a lower elo, that's probably a good way to get around cannon contains and get the game finished early. Because your opponent might not be macroing that great behind their contains. But they've got their second base. They're getting it set up. We've got actually the same amount of drones and probes. And I'm getting my third base set up. And that's because they're going gas, because they're trying to go Skytoss. So, before this, a thing to note, I'm not going to rewind, but they were stuck on 54 out of 54 supply. And that's why they built this little pylon field. Because they got supply blocked because they forgot to build pylons. So that's the second mistake that they made. But at this point, I'm thoroughly out of the cannon contain. So I'm going to speed the game up to at least ×2. Because right now, one, I have this Overseer because I was worried about Dark Templar follow-up. I feel like if you cannon contain, it's, especially lower elos, it's probably very effective to go Dark Templar. Because I don't really build detectors when I should. And that great. And I'm guessing a lot of other people don't until they're already in need of detection. So it made sense to me, because if I was a Protoss and I cannon contained, I would go for Dark Templars. Maybe that's just me. But I was building up this army because I expected them to attack me. When it didn't happen, if I did a better macro game at this point in my life, I could have a much bigger army. But I said, alright, if they're not attacking me, I will attack them. And I look for their third base, because I assume that they'll be on a third base. But happily they're not. And I can just show up and start killing things. Start taking out all those workers. And then I realize they have Void Rays. I already built a Hydralisk in because I've been teching behind this, or trying to tech behind it. And I also like Hydralisks, so as soon as I see these Void Rays, I start making hydralisks. Making 8 of them. So, and this is a decision on my part. I'm not going to be able to kill their Sky Army. I'm not really going to... Maybe I could run away, but I'm not really going to and still buy time. So I decided to destroy their ground army and just keep fighting their stuff. Just be a pain in their butt, basically. Go and take out 6 more workers. And I'm still making hydraulics, still making my upgrades. Making some Vespine geysers. Oh, I've got those ones. Making some over here. And they'll probably think this is my third, but it's not. That's my second. So now I've got a bunch of hydras. They attack in. I see it. And hydralisks, especially upgraded, when they don't have much upgrades, at least not armor, hydralisks are very good against void rays. Hydralisks are fast attacking units, and they do a good amount of damage. So I repel that attack, and I'm making some more army, making some zerglings, making some queens to keep injecting my bases, making some roaches, making another hatchery, just this macro hatch. And I'm basically at the point where I'm going to want to attack them again very quickly. Now, very quickly is kind of in the eye of the beholder for this. Make some Ravagers. And once again, I'm doing this, and this is something to note, I'm doing a lot of stuff based on no information. I have very old information when they really have that base. So, I'm making Ravagers because I'm thinking surely they've made cannons in their base. Surely they're not just going to let me walk into their base. That's not going to happen. Like, they must have made cannons by now. But turns out they're not going to be making cannons. And they've got 2 carriers. My Hydras start killing the interceptors, although I want to try to reach the carriers to kill them. So I'm going to pull back, try to make them come out. But I can't get to their Air Force, but that's fine. Take out their 3rd base so they didn't expand. I'm going to try to take out their 2nd base, which those Zerglings really should be doing. Come on, guys. Get it together. There you go. So I'm going to take out their expansion. And at this point, the name of the game is containing the Protoss. They tried to contain me, but I broke out. I made some army when they didn't pressure me. And now I'm just trying to stop them from expanding. Because if we look at the game, I'm low on minerals in my main. I'm mining out. And I had to take drones off of production. They're going to be mining out too. And Air Force is expensive. Skytoss is an expensive build. So if I can keep them contained and just keep making units, especially just keep making Hydralisks, stuff that's good against air, I could go Spire and make some Corruptors, would be smart. But what can I say? I wasn't there yet. I wasn't at Corruptors yet. So they try to attack me. It's not going to work. I basically back up because I'm reinforcing, trying to get them to pull their carriers out, so I can just run forward and attack the carrier, which works. I take one out. They step too far out. They overcommit, and I try to stop that production. Throw that goop on it, stop their production a little bit. And now it's just, like I said, just containing them. That's all I need to do. Contain them while you're attacking into them hard. I know where they are, I know where their army is, so I can expand to my 4th base. I don't really drone it that much. I should move these 6 drones up here. There's probably drones over there. Yeah, that could move. Do I have? Yeah. Drones over here that could move. I've got plenty of guys that could move over to this base. And I just moved 15 over there. So I just noticed that and I just do it. So I'm going to keep my economy going. I have so many minerals. I'm probably going to start making a whole bunch of Zerglings soon because I have so many minerals. And I'm going to make another base just to keep that production going as I'm mining out. Or keep that economy going as I'm mining out. At this point, they're kind of gearing up for their last push that they can do. Because bringing guys out here is kind of dangerous. I should have had my army sitting out over here to stop them from mining. But I had them over here to stop them from walking out. And for some reason I back out. I'm probably going to regroup my army. But I back out because I don't want to lose all my Hydras, just in case they all end me with a bunch of stuff. So I also just made a huge round of Zerglings, which go, harass their base. They start coming out. They lose all their Zealots just walking by. They must have been attack moving. They must have just been regular moving. So they're attacking me. I'm going to group my army, send my Zerglings through to look for other bases and attack their ground. And now this is just straight me having way more units and just spam attack in. Units with good upgrades, just attacking. They don't have a fourth. See, they don't have a third. And I'm just going to be walking in for that victory march because they don't have enough resources to defend. Because they end up getting contained at the end of the game. Or at the mid end of the game. So that's how I got promoted to gold. That's also how I defended a cannon contain into a Skytoss. One of their big mistakes they made, well, they made a couple big mistakes, but the most common, probably at low tiers, is they got supply blocked hard when they were trying to make their initial Air Force. So that gave me some more time where they weren't pressuring me because they were supply blocked. They didn't check if I expanded, because if they walked to this side and saw that I expanded, build a pylon, wait for it, build a couple cannons. I can't stop it because I can't get out of my base. So that would be a good move by them. All I could do is cancel that and go somewhere else. But they didn't do that. And one thing that would have been more efficient for me in Nidus Network in this situation, because I would still let me build army. So in case they did rush in with Zealots, I'd have most likely Roaches to deal with it. And Roaches are decent at dealing with Zealots. They're ranged, they do a good amount of damage, and they have armor. And if I Nidused, I get to defend my base. Then when I'm ready, throw a Nidus Worm in here and just go start tearing their stuff up. Because if they've got all these cannons and they've got some, a lot of minerals spent up here, those are minerals they don't have spent back home in their base. So hopefully that was helpful to some of my fellow lower league players or lower MMR players that might run into this and find it frustrating when they find it on ladder. I guess just realize there's no reason if they're containing you to just, GG and just give up. There's plenty of stuff you can do. You just have to know to do it and try to do it early and pick one and go with it. That's the other thing I did that was kind of bad is I brought drones down here. I didn't even finish the pylon. I didn't fully commit to it, and I didn't bring the right number of drones. So that wasn't good, but I eventually did decide to just do Ravager and commit to that. So, all in all, a good game. It felt good. It can always be a little bit fun going against some of those different builds instead of just a straight up macro game. It can be fun having to, think on your feet and do stuff a little differently. Especially when it works out. I guess that helps make it more fun when it works out for you. Alright, so that's that. A little bit of cannon contained defense, a little Skytoss defense. Something I've noticed people have been asking about on forums and seem to have problems with, especially in lower leagues, is how to deal with a tactic like that. So hopefully this showed you some ways that you could deal with it and showed you a way that I did deal with it. This is the first time I came across a cannon contain. So hopefully that was helpful. If it was, feel free to like the video, leave any comments you have, especially if you have any comments about things you'd like to see me cover or things you would just like to see on the channel concerning StarCraft 2. And if you don't already know, I've got another series for StarCraft 2, which is more about going over some basics and going over some stuff from my perspective about the game and getting started, and some fundamentals, especially at lower levels. If you didn't like the video, dislike button's down there. Feel free to hit that and leave any constructive comments, constructive criticism in the comments below. And until then, as always, I've been your dad. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.